Welcome to a new video on my home automation channel. This time I will be reviewing a Zemismart 2-gang European smart switch. And we have seen smart switches before. I have reviewed a couple of different products from Untitled, and we have seen other smart switches from Zemismart as well. But this is the first one in the Zemismart line, or let's say in the TUI application, which is a wall switch. And the other reason I choose this one, because most of the smart switches that we see online, well, maybe not the most of them, but like, you know, all of the Sonoff one that I reviewed are touch switches. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan of touch switches. I like to feel, you know, the physical movement and, you know, that sort of physical feedback that you get when you operate a normal switch as opposed to a touch switch. So I thought I would definitely pick up something which is a physical switch. So here we are. And before we go into the details, it is not the same type of, you know, physical feeling that you get from normal wall switches, where you have a, you know, relatively long travel of the switch body. Because what is happening here, if I press, as you can guess, this basically has a small micro switch behind the switch plate, and therefore, you know, that micro switch only moves in about like a 1 millimeter or something like that. So again, at least you get a physical feedback, you know, there is a nice clicking sound, and you also feel that you are pushing onto something, which is nice. I actually prefer that, but you don't get that, you know, that kind of switching action. And if you look at it from the side, you can see that that's sort of all of the, you know, the movement that you get. And this is a 2-gang version. The same style of switch has a 1-gang and also a 3-gang version. And the physical layout is quite interesting because all of them look exactly the same. Well, more or less the same. So they have this round plate. The 1-gang version would have an additional hole right in the middle, sort of like that size. We are going to see it, how it looks like on the listing. So you push the middle of it, and then the 2-gang you can push on the top and on the button. And then in the 3-gang version, again, you have the middle as the 3rd gang. So they are not the usual type where you have, you know, one next to each other. It's more like, you know, a different design. Other than that, as you can see, the switching ring is made of this matte white plastic, and this ring is actually shiny, and the face, the rest of the face, the rectangular face, is again a shiny piece of plastic. It feels actually quite nice. I mean, and the whole thing feels quite rigid. If I try to, you know, flex it, it doesn't flex at all. And the sides have this nice chamfer on it. So I think in terms of the physical appearance, it's you know, it's fine. When we look at the back, yeah, we see that this is a European style. So it has the sort of rounded body, so it goes into the wall socket like that. It doesn't have the clamps that you find in most European sockets, where you have the clamps, you tighten it, and then it sort of like grabs onto the socket. So you can only use mounting screws, and then you have quite a few options. So the there's 2 in the middle, and there's 4 more on the sides. The product comes in this box, which is basically says KS611 Smart Wall Light Switch. You have a QR code for the app. So it says it's using the Smart Life app. Again, we know that if something says Smart Life, then we can use Smart Life and the TUI as well. And you can see the specs here. So it states that you can switch LED lights up to 150 watts and other you know, regular incandescent light bulbs up to 600 watts. And it's universal voltage, so 100 to 240 volts, 50 or 60 hertz. The other thing you get in the box is you get some mounting hardware, so basically 2 screws, and you get also a leaflet, a 2-sided leaflet. One side is English, the other side is German, and you have the basic instruction manual. So specs again here, you also have a small description of the different indicator lights and the wiring diagram. So I'm not going to do a full wiring, just get it hooked to the mains. I'm not going to connect the lights, but you know, it's pretty simple. Basically, you have the live and the natural going in, and then the live wire is getting switched onto the output the load outputs. So we are going to have 2 here because it's a 2 gang, but then for the 3 gang you would just have 1 more output for the third for the third light. And of course then the light on the other side also get connected to the neutral. And just like with many other smart switches, this means that it has to be connected both to the live and to the neutral wires. So if you are planning to replace your non-smart wall switches to this unit, or pretty much any other smart wall switch, you have to have the natural wire also in the wall socket. So you just make sure that you have, so in let's say Europe, you should have black wires and also a blue wire in the wall socket, or maybe brown and blue. The color codings are different in every region. You have the link to the app, and also you get some instructions how you pair it in the application, you know, which is pretty straightforward. By the way, you can see the 3 gang version here. So if you see the back of the unit, now we can see that we have a couple of outputs. The last one is not populated. This would only be populated if this would be a 3 gang wall switch, but this is only a 2 gang. So you have neutral going in, live going in, and load 1 and load 2 going out. It's nice labeled. It says in, out, out. So again, you connect your blue here, the black or brown to the live, and then the 2 blacks or browns which are going to your lights will be connected to these terminals, these 2 terminals. You have screws here, and then the wires go in like that. So very simple. And if you put a screwdriver here, you can pry off the front face. And what we see here is a fairly familiar construction. I mean, I have seen that the Sonoff switches have the same construction. So you have a PCB here, which usually have 3 positions for 3 switches. Now we can see that the top and the bottom is populated. If it would be a 3 gang, then there would be a micro switch here in the middle as well. And I guess that would be just the middle one if it would be a 1 gang. And I guess the rest of the electronics are located underneath. There is also another micro switch here, which is for reset. But as the instruction says, if you hold down any of the switch button, that also acts as a reset. And it is hard to see, but we have 2 LEDs here and then 2 LEDs there as well. So we have a white and a blue LED. So the blue is for status and the white is just to show the state of the switch, and that also acts as a night light. So we will see how that works just in a few minutes. As I mentioned before, if you're not a fan of the touch switches, you can find some physical switches in the Zemismart range. So this is the model that I got, but there is also a different version available, which is more for the US and the Australian market. I'm guessing it has a different form factor. It's more, rectangular, and probably the electronics in the backside is have a slightly different arrangement because of the different wall sockets that are usually used in the US and Australia. It will be interesting though to know if these can fit in the European sockets. I'm not really sure, but if you go into the product listings, you can see the individual dimensions, and then you can make the decision based on that. I quite like this design, to be honest. It will be interesting to see if this has a bigger movement, but I'm assuming that they are probably using the same electronics inside. So underneath they are probably just tactile switches. So you get the small, push 1 millimeter in, and then you activate the tactile switch, and that's it. So if we go back to the European model, you can see the price at the moment. I mean, they are always on sale, so I don't know if it ever goes back to $32, but I'm not really, I would doubt that. So this picture represents the 1 gang version, and then you have the 2 gang version, and it looks like these pictures are probably based on some early renderings, because it also shows this middle circle, which is not present in my unit. And then of course the 3 gang version would have the outer circle and the inner circle as well. So yeah, simple. That's the only difference, and of course there is like a few dollars difference in price, as it would need more relays, I guess. So you see the main specs here, but we have already looked at in the box. And yeah, you see the different visuals again here. So for the 1 gang and the 3 gang version, the third indicator light is inside this middle a middle mark, which is probably like translucent plastic. And specifications, yeah, you have seen the specifications on the side. And if you scroll further down, you can see the dimensions. So it's 80 by 80. I have a piece of wire connected to the 2 in terminals, and the other end of the wire is just a plug. So I'm just going to plug it into mains, and then we should be ready to set this up into the Zemismart application. So the unit is plugged in at the moment, and even without doing any configuration on the app, it works as a normal wall switch. So if I click, then you can see that probably hear that the relay comes on. And if I do the other one, the relay goes on again and then off. So yeah, pretty simple. Acts as a normal wall switch. And if you look at the rings, I'm trying to put some shade on it so you can better see. So that's the white LED, and that's the white indicator light showing that that is on, and the other one is off. And if I turn it on, then you can see it. So it just gives a very faint glow, which means it's not visible in daylight, but then it's not too bright during the night either. This particular unit was tested by a few of us before, so it means that it was already configured and added to the Smart Life application, or the 2 application. So I just pressed on one of the buttons for more than 5 seconds, and then it started the pairing mode, which is indicated by this blue flashing light. Of course, if you have a brand new unit, you might not need to do this because they will go into pairing mode straight away. So I'm just going to place it aside and then open the app on my phone. I have nothing in the Zemismart app at the moment, so I'm just going to add a new device. And I'm going to say that I have a volt switch, and not the Bluetooth, but not the Zigbee one, just a normal volt switch. And yeah, I can confirm that it's blinking rapidly. I provide my Wi-Fi, SSID and password. And now we just wait for the app or for the mobile phone to find this new device and add it to my app. And I get a suggested device ID, which is KS611-2. I think the -2 because I've used it before in the past, but okay, that's fine. I'm just going to leave it as it is and then say completed. Since we have a 2-gang switch, we are getting a picture of a 2-gang switch, and we can operate the switches. As you can see, there is virtually no delay between me pressing the button in the app and also the device responding to the state with the state change. Let's have a quick look around in the user interface. So obviously you're getting the 2 switch plates. You can move them. If any of the outputs are turned on, then the output in the background in the app changes to a lighter shade of blue, so it indicates that one of the output is on. Also, we have 2 labels. Hopefully we can change that. And on the bottom of the screen we have 2 additional switch functions. There is an all open, so you can turn all the outputs open at the same time, and you can do all off. Yeah, fine. I'm not sure how much that is going to be used, but you have that option if you want to. And if you go to the timer, then you can set up timer settings for the 2 switches separately. So you can add some schedules, which means that I want this switch or this light to turn off automatically at a particular time. And you can just select any time of the day, let's say, and repeat. You can specify which days. Let's say I want it on weekdays only, and I want to turn it on. So 17:13 on, and then let's say 18:13 also on the weekdays I want to off. So I have 2 settings for switch 1 or gang 1, which is going to turn automatically on, and after 1 hour it's going to turn it automatically off. So I have 2 of these settings. I can set up similar settings for the switch 2, but that's just basic stuff that you can do scheduling. So that's the basic operation of the switch. So let's see what happens if we want to go into the settings. So you click on this pencil arrow on the top right. So first of all, you can rename the switch. So if you want to give it a different name, so I'm just going to leave it as this. You can change the location. I haven't put it into any rooms. Obviously, once you have a load of devices, then it's a good idea to put them into different rooms, so you can just find the ones that you want more easily by going into the specific room. You can also check whether the device is connected now, and as you can see, it is supported by these third-party applications. You can also share the device. So if your family members have multiple accounts, different accounts, you use one account to set up the device, and you can share the device to the other accounts. In the meantime, I just renamed my switch to test switch, and when I come out of the details of the screen, you can see the switch here. Unfortunately, you can't operate the switch from this overview screen or the room screen, let's say. Wherever you press on this device, it just goes into this details screen of that device, and that takes about, like, as you can see, probably 1 or 2 seconds to load. So that's the only delay that you are going to have. But then once you are here, you can operate the switch. I thought that you can rename the individual switches, and if I'm clicking on here, I can see that it changes color, but it's not allowing me to modify the names. So I just need to figure out how to do it. So let's see how we can set this up in, let's say, Google Home. So I don't have Alexa. It works with Alexa and Google Home as well. So I'm just going to show you the Google Home setup. I already have quite a few devices set up in my Google Home app, but here we're just going to click on Add, set up a new device, and use the second one, which says works with Google. And then you go into this managed account section where you can link external accounts to your Google Home. And because there are so many of them, I'm just going to use the search for Zemismart. And that takes you into the pairing screen where you need to provide your email address or phone number and also the password. So that's what you have used to register in the Zemismart app. And once you have successfully provided your details, you will see this screen which says linking. And then after a couple of seconds, if you go back and then back, hopefully you should be able to see your devices added, which should be here somewhere. You see test switch. So if I click on this one, now I can operate the switch. And you see I have 3 devices added. I have the test switch, which operates both of the outputs, but I can operate the individual outputs as well. So it all works, and since I have it connected here, I can immediately use voice commands. Hey Google, turn on switch 1.
Okay, turning on switch 1.
And it just happened. So if you see, oops, sorry, this is blue, this is white, so the bottom one is switch 1. I'm planning to cover the automations in a later video, but if you click on Smart and if I select automation, then I can set up some automatic actions for this device. So for example, if I create a new one and I say that if condition is met, I click on this add condition and then device and then test switch, and then let's say switch 1, switch off, switch 1 or switch 2, you can see that you can set up automations based on whether that switch is turned on or turned off. And this is what later we are going to use for two-way switching, which I'm going to cover in a later video. And of course, in the carry out action, again, you can use the test switch. So let's say I want the switch to turn on. So if something else triggers this automation, then we can, the action part of it, or the execution part of that automation can be this switch. So either gang 1 or gang 2 or switch 1 or switch 2 either turns on or turns off. But that should be all for now. I hope you like my review about this Zemismart 2-gang switch. Links to this product and the Aliexpress listing is going to be in the video description. Thanks for watching and hopefully see you in the next video.